You must close 5 underworld gates and stop vicious demon hordes from entering Earth. Each day you waste more and more divine creatures from another dimension, killing everyone you love, turning your closest teammates, friends, and family against you. And not even the gods will want to help you, but will try to sacrifice you for power instead. If you watch till the end, I'll show you how to beat the god wars in Onyx Equinox. Everyone here is about to be sacrificed by gods and demons. This girl called Zyanya trains in an ancient Aztec city when suddenly a siren goes off. The high priest tells everyone their sacrifice wasn't enough, just as the sky turns blood red and the world starts breaking apart. Knowing what's at stake, she rushes to check on her parents getting attacked by demons from hell. They warn her to get to the old stone for protection before getting consumed completely. The village quickly gets overwhelmed by more demon hordes as Zyanya nearly gets caught by her parents' demon. Her father breaks free from inside, telling her to keep running while he gets his arm ripped off and pulled back in, forcing her to haul ass and leaves everyone to die. Okay, we don't know where these monsters have come from, but I would utilize a secret technique that is not so appropriate to talk about on YouTube, but we're gonna do it anyways, since it is something that could help us escape. Shit has hit the fan, and since the gods have decided to fudge us, this means anything holy in this area is not safe. Going near anything made of obsidian though, the only material that gods cannot touch, would be the best first move. But since everybody would have the same idea, I would think twice about that, because at the end of the day, this is just the first wave of attack, which means trying to go after something that everyone is trying to go after, even if it's a safe option, would be risky, since we'd be walking straight into chaos. This means that leaving town, while dangerous, is actually the safest option of all. But there's a huge problem. Our obstacle right now is these monsters. We could survive by being the biggest asshole in the world. If I were Zyanya, I would have done the most logical thing by abandoning our parents the moment weird shit started to land from the sky. They're old, they've lived their life. They would probably want me to live, right? So I would have instead rushed to collect an edged weapon of some kind, while locating the closest family in the area that specifically had a fat newborn baby. I would go and offer to help this family before backstabbing and murdering them, and then licking their blood off of my knife before stealing their baby and then hauling ass. Since the demons are coming from the ground, we could use this baby's soft milk lotion skin as a distraction in case one showed up in front of us, lobbing it far away from us like a baby blood flare, meant to distract any incoming monsters. This would have been the most streamlined and most efficient move until we gained some distance to think of the next move. The town priest kicks the bucket, offering his blood to summon 2 gods appearing from the sky. They show up mighty and strong, and they start brutally destroying all the evil inside, including some of the humans. The demons quickly gather in defense, revealing their captured humans, and sacrifice them all together at the same time, and use their blood to summon their demon lord, Mictlantecuhtli, bursting straight out from hell. One of the guys try to go, "Deuces, I'm out," but he gets easily killed by the demon lord, and he destroys the entire village and sinks it all into the underworld, killing hundreds of more humans. After, one of the human survivors looks for his mom, but gets possessed by a god named Quetzalcoatl. The god meets up with 3 other gods, including this one named Tezcatlipoca. They're pissed off because the demons are stealing their sacrifices and consider this a declaration of war, and decide to shut down the 5 gates of the underworld, which will prevent any demon from entering the human world again. But they will need a human to do this, since the gates were somehow built with a material known as anti-god obsidian. Since the gods for some reason decided to create an anti-god material, they need a human to do this, and Quetzalcoatl makes a bet with his fellow god that he will find and choose a champion from the humans to carry out their mission. In another town, this kid named Isel lives happily with his sister under the supervision of their master. They head to the town to sell shit, his artwork, but the master is requested to join the other town leaders because something horrifying has just happened. Isel is asked to head home alone while the master and his sister go to the town meeting. There, the leaders mention there's been an uptick in demon attacks recently and think they need to sacrifice more people so their gods can better protect them. They plan to use Isel, but his sister begs them to take his place. A little later, Isel finds out the horrible news, but there's only so much a little bitch boy can do, and he's forced to watch his sister go get got right in front of him. Giving up on life, he prepares to kick a bucket himself, jumping off the cliff, but he accidentally lands on an underworld gate, triggering his hero transformation. A jaguar named Yodel suddenly appears and rescues him, declaring him as humanity's champion. He tells Isel he's been sent by the gods to make sure he fulfills his destiny. They'll have more adventures and double-crossing than these 2 even realize. Isel begs Yodel to kill him because he's given up on life, but he tells the kid tough shit and lays out his job. He must close the gates of the underworld, or else mankind will be wiped off from the face of the earth. Isel tries to run away, entering this atrium, and he comes across a dagger making noise. It bites him, just as the guardian of this gate shows up trying to kill him. He picks up the dagger, but somehow cuts himself on it, turning it into a proper weapon, striking the monster as he runs away. Yaudo shows up, instructing him to hit the lever, and getting unbelievably lucky, he barely survives and escapes the monster's clutches as it gets impaled by the gate, causing the gate to sink below. Yaudo tells him only 4 gates now remain, but Isel is still pissed at his people and thinks maybe society should just die, running back to his town, but not for long, as they see his eye colors now changed and think he's been marked by the underworld and is cursed, forcing him to run away, not realizing he's being watched. Isel bumps into Yodel again and tells him he will only do this job if the gods can promise to bring back his dead sister. Yodel says the gods can do anything and doesn't get specific, like a vague asshole, but Isel accepts the job, thinking that he means they have a deal, like an idiot. In order to find the gates, he must first retrieve a special compass in a nearby city that they'll stop at. Some more demons suddenly appear to get Isel, but Yodel saves him, warning him that he's been marked by the underworld, which means evil will hunt him if he stays in one place too long. Later, the gang reaches the nearby city that forbids gods and deities from going in, so Yodel instructs Isel that he will know what the compass will look like when he sees it, and goes in solo. Inside, he spots someone that he thinks he recognizes, and follows him into the home of two top Pokatok players. It's his dad, and Isel is pissed at him for abandoning him. Dad swears he was gonna come back after going out for milk, but Isel ain't having it, and leaves all angry. The dad's two sons go to check on Isel, and go make friends with him, introducing themselves as June and Kin. They take him on a tour of their special temple, showing them the special Pokatok ball, known to be gifted by the gods. The myth tells the story of two ball heroes that travel to the underworld with the help of a magical ball that has powers, thinking this ball is their destiny. But Isel suspects this ball is actually his compass and tries to grab it, but the twins won't let him have it and decide to touch it instead, instantly activating it, causing the temple around them to come crashing down. The boys leave the safe city walls, but Isel chases after them. The twins think they can now go on adventures with this ball, but come across some demons hungry for more flesh. Isel arrives to the shit show just in time, and the demon slashes him, making him bleed. He quickly calls out to Yodel in distress, who shows up just in time to save them, saying his spilled blood is the only way to call him, but he's pissed the ball has been bonded to the twins and will now only activate on their command. He tells the twins they must now come with them to use their powers to find 4 more underworld gates. The twins say nah, so Yodel threatens them to listen, the only way that you can make any young kid listen to you, via threatening. Yodel shows them how to use the ball, realizing they both need to command it at the same time. Suddenly the earth rumbles as they see the god of the underworld drown the twins' village in the distance. The twins want to go back to help, but Yodel tells them they can't do shit, and everyone keeps moving. Stopping by this river to wash up, Yodel catches a woman spying on them. She says her name is Zyanya, and her village was destroyed by a god. She is looking for monster hunters to help rescue survivors. Slipping out from Yodel's grip, she runs away, but he says they don't have time to stop, pressing on until they reach the site of the next underworld gate. Yodel says he is forbidden from entering since the material is made of god-fearing obsidian, forcing these two to head inside, not knowing what the underworld gate looks like. Going below, everyone falls into a trap, but gets saved by their ball, coming across a monster gatekeeper, forcing them to try and escape, but get cornered by a second monster. Just as Zyanya shows up out of nowhere to help them. My, how convenient. Okay, telling the twins to practice their ball handling skills daily would have been my first move, since they were literally playing with a toy from the gods. And going into any underworld entrance, it's obvious there probably would have been at least 1 or 2 guards there to stop them. Why did you not bring some more meat shields to help you out is beyond me. At this point, we still have a way to stop this monster, because while this thing may seem overpowered, we could use what we know about crabs to help us beat it, while using good old hit and run guerrilla tactics. While crabs generally don't rely on their eyesight too much, targeting it could still help us temporarily distract it. As this group, I would first order everyone to rush to higher ground, luring the crabs to follow us on any of these rocks, which immediately would have given us a height advantage over them momentarily, allowing us to take out its eyes as it came up before running away. The goal of this would be to commit a series of attacks followed by retreats, with our group always keeping distance around this area, while periodically returning to launch an attack for one purpose, like by circling back around the rocks to solely target one of its biggest weaknesses, its hind legs. For many species of crabs, their hind legs are way more powerful than their front legs, and provides it with the power needed to move forward, and generates most of the crab's thrust. Taking these out would also throw off their steering and balance, which would have made it less efficient at moving around in its own environment, giving us another advantage. And during all of this, I would also signal one of our people from our group to be on the lookout for environmental weapons like mineral formations that form on the ceilings of a cave known as stalactites, which we could further use to arm ourselves with sort of makeshift spears. Approaching these monsters with caution and favoring distance and speed over just sheer power and dominance would be the way to go. Zyanya offers them a deal. She will save them if they promise to go to her town first. With no choice, the boys agree, and she goes ham on them, directing the twins to use their ball to tag team these baddies, as the group works together to take it out and slam this box on top of it, but then notice this hidden passageway, leading them to the underworld gate. Zyanya knows there is another gate just like this in her town too. Isel sees more than one lever on this gate and wonders how to press all of them together, coming up with a plan involving some rope, successfully making it close once and for all. This triggers a back exit to open, allowing them to leave, meeting up with Yaddle waiting outside. He sees the stranger Zyanya, but Isel tells him they made a deal to help her, and one of the underworld gates is in her town anyways, so chill, basically. The twins make the ball show them the direction of the next gate, and everyone makes a move, not realizing at all that Zyanya is hiding a dark secret. The next day, vicious monkeys are heard nearby. Zyanya warns everyone that the monkeys are dangerous and are trying to starve them out of their territory. This one monkey sneaks past them to pick up Isel, making him drop the knife, and wants their last bit of food, but spots Isel's underworld eyes and quickly retreats. The others think they should call Yaddle, but Isel doesn't want to because he's a dick. The twins get into a fight, but one of them, June, falls and breaks his leg. Suddenly, this witch shows up and tells them to follow her because, hey, she can help. With no choice, they listen and head to her camp, informing her about their situation. She asks them to retrieve an axolot from the nearby pond. They'll know it when they see it, so the group listens, leaving June with her like idiots. Walking towards the lake, Zyanya tries to convince Isel to ditch the twins. She almost does, actually, while Ken gets surrounded by monkeys, but Isel turns around and changes his mind, wanting to help his friends. Rushing back, he slices all the monkeys as Zyanya reluctantly helps too, grabbing any creatures they can find in the pond, and they try to quickly escape but get cornered. Isel directs Ken to throw his ball at the monkeys, knocking one out, as the others get distracted trying to fight for it, killing each other while Isel and Ken tag team to kill the rest, as his sword upgrades to something even more badass. Barely escaping, they reach back to the witch and hand over the axolot basket. Seeing this creature, who we'll call Munchkin, come out. Satisfied, the witch then heals June's leg, and everyone realizes she never needed the Munchkin at all. These two apologize and become friends again, and everyone prepares to head back on the road. The witch gives them Munchkin since it has teleportation powers. It shows them the direction to Zyanya's town. Really? That's not suspicious at all. About to teleport, the scream of a monkey is heard in the distance, scaring Isel, who distracts Munchkin, teleporting them to some random location instead, this advanced village. They try to act cool and head out, but these villagers see Isel's cursed eyes and thinks he's evil. Their high priest has recently gone missing, and they think Isel and his friends are behind it, locking them up. A little later, this girl sneaks into the jail, offering them food, introducing herself as Zana, and says her people are just looking for someone to blame. She finds out where Isel's group are headed, but says they're headed in the complete opposite direction from Zyanya's town. But since she also wants to leave this place and her master, she offers to help them escape. And suddenly her douchey master then enters, tells everyone to leave, warning everyone that their fate will be decided by sunrise. Not noticing that Zyanya has escaped, she runs into Zana outside, trying to heal herself from her violent master. They talk for a bit, and Zyanya finds out there's a gate under this temple. Ooh, well, looky here. They agree to work together to free everyone. Great. Zana sneaks back to jail, updating the group on what happened, saying Zyanya is looking for Munchkin that has run off. Isel's group agrees to take her with them if she helps them, but that's when Zana's master shows back up, catching her red-handed, and he locks her up. She tries to distract him while the twins manage to go apeshit in here, knocking out the master and helping them escape. They rush to the city temple to find the next gate, but spot this creature sleeping inside. Just as Zyanya shows up, securing the runaway Munchkin, they spot the 5 gate switches, realizing that they have just enough people. But the monster guardian wakes up and starts chasing them. Zana's master also catches up to them and ends up being the perfect distraction, allowing Isel's group to reach all 5 switches, and the group activates the gate, causing the entire temple to come crashing down. Running out, the master ends up helping out, not willingly of course, becoming child food, while Isel's group uses Munchkin to escape, exiting out of town. But then Yaddle shows up finally and sees more members added, which pisses him off so much he eats Munchkin. Bye, Munchkin. Causing them to randomly teleport to different locations non-stop. Yaddle has no idea what's going on, and the group tells him to cough up Munchkin. Arriving at this forest, he finally coughs him up, more pissed off than before. He tries to kill him, but this time it teleports everyone but Yaddle. Realizing they have accidentally arrived in the underworld, and discover that Munchkin is out of energy, which means they'll be stuck here for a while. Zana warns them the longer they're here, the weaker they will get. The twins are unable to use their ball to show them the way out, and Isel can't call Yaddle. Suddenly a vicious monster spots them and tries to kill them, splitting the gang up. Isel then realizes that he might be able to find his sister here, but Zyanya tells him to stop getting distracted because he'll eventually become too weak to even look for her. Back outside, Yaddle is unable to enter the underworld, right as his boss, Tezcatlipoca, shows up pissed as hell, saying they've only closed 3 gates, and Yaddle says Isel is trapped in the underworld. But his boss thinks that's great news, since he can just die down there instead, confusing Yaddle since he has been assigned to protect him. But Bossman tells him to keep his mouth shut and not say anything, which is super suspicious as hell. Back in the underworld, the twins and Zana explore the area, but come across the famous ball court of Xibalba from the twin heroes myth. Basically what the twins here think they were destined for. Going down to play, Zyanya notices something watching her. The twins notice her disappearance, but spot something in the distance and suddenly capture them. All three wake up in pitch black darkness, starting to suffocate just as their ball lights up. June gets taken away, but Zyanya tells Kin if they get lost in here, they will die, quickly helping him focus to retrieve the ball, saving June in the process as it pulls everyone out of this trap and out to safety. Now even weaker, more monsters show up to get them, but this reptile comes charging in, forcing the gang to run for their lives, reaching a dead end to prepare for a fight. But only Zyanya shows up, saying she hasn't seen any monster and tells them maybe the twins' ball can help them find the direction of the next gate, since they're both made of the same material, allowing them to find a way out by default. Isel and Zyanya keep walking, but he spots his sister in the distance and runs after her, losing Zyanya in the process. He spots her standing alone. She tells him to stay with her, but that's when he realizes this thing isn't his sister, and he tries to eat him. Last minute, Zyanya catches up and saves him. Seeing this freak sister look alike, it makes Isel lose his cool and go apeshit on it, while the rest of his team finally reach him. Zyanya tries to hide the fact that her army is twitching and tell the group that she might know someone that can get them out. No one except Isel trusts her, but she makes them trust her anyways, leading them to this spot. Everyone falls through, waking up in this room, right in front of the goddess of the underworld. The twins think Zyanya set them up, but she assures them she didn't. The goddess transforms into someone they already recognize, the witch they met earlier. She says while she can't help them, their munchkin will, not realizing she has devastating plans for all of them. She charges him back up, and he finally teleports everyone back to the fourth gate, Zyanya's town. She says the gate is deep below, and that's how her entire town sunk through it, showing them all 5 gate switches around the area, but mentions there is actually a switch located deep within the gate itself. Zyanya says that doesn't make sense, but Zyanya says not to question it. The twins realize they'll have to use their ball to hit all 5 levers up here, but will need to spend some time practicing their aim first. They wonder if they should call Yaddle for help, but Isel says no because he suspects Yaddle is keeping secrets from him. Zyanya then guides Isel down into the gate while these 3 stay behind. The twins manage to half hit the switches, but that triggers the gate to start closing. Down near the gate, Zyanya leads Isel to this rundown area, removing the paint on her face and reveals something strange. Arriving at this step, she apologizes to Isel, cutting her hand, summoning the god of the underworld, aka Demon Daddy. Zyanya reveals that Demon Daddy promised to bring back her parents if she brought Isel to her, and basically everyone's been playing him since the beginning. But Demon Daddy changes his mind and screws her over. Shocker! Claiming the gates to the underworld are already closing, and grabs Isel. He tries to summon Yaddle, but he is forbidden from entering the area, and suddenly Zyanya bites down on Demon Daddy's arm, scaling him, but gets knocked back, seemingly over. Zyanya finally jumps down, rescuing Isel, but ditches Zyanya, saying they can't save her. Demon Daddy tries to stop them, but the twins distract him while the gang hauls ass, running into his queen wife, the goddess, aka the witch from earlier, who stops her husband from catching them and screws him over too, letting him get crushed by the underworld gate. And with the god of the underworld dead, all of his powers get passed to the queen, saying she's been planning this all along. Unfortunately, she needs one gate open and apologizes for what's about to happen. And that's when Yaddle quickly comes in to protect the group and tells everyone to run. The queen is surprised that Yaddle doesn't remember her from their past and tells him to go after the kids, since they won't last long. The kids continue running into the forest, with their team deploying buddy tactics to get away. Yaddle catches up with them, barely making it over this river, except he gets badly injured. But they realize the monsters behind them can't cross this place. The flowing water protects this place, and they decide to rest here for a while. The villagers here recognize Yaddle and how he's related to the gods, and everyone gets treated like pimps. Isel feels bad for Zyanya. The twins feel great, but Zyanya says her reasoning, while not great, is understandable. Yaddle is now pissed and tells them to focus up and stop adding members to the team, or killing or pissing off gods, and storms off. A little later, the twins and Isel make up and decide to have fun for the first time during this trip, while Zyanya tells Yaddle to stop being a grumpy prick and be nicer to Isel if he wants him to stay focused and to survive. Later that night, Yaddle keeps watch by the river, but sees the queen show up. He tries to tell her the death of her husband was not intentional, but she low-key flirts with him, making him remember his past before he became a fancy god's assistant. She can tell Isel is his responsibility, so she says she'll take care of it for him, summoning something in the sky, heading right for their town. Sensing danger, Yaddle rushes back to warn Isel's group as these things crash land into the town, demons from hell, and begin killing innocent people left and right, while Isel's group tries to get their bearings. Okay, I know you found a safe place with running water, but you live in a land with flying gods. I'm sure they have something that eventually would be able to hop over their little water force field, okay? Because even mountain-covered Switzerland, with mountains so high Frodo wouldn't climb them, still, a place like that would have, oh, I don't know, a military in case shit hit the fan. So all of this happening is really 100% these villagers' fault. At this point, instead of running away, I would utilize our enemy's greatest weakness. It's noted that Yaddle couldn't set foot in the water due to its divine properties inside, which is also the exact reason why these creatures came from the sky. If I was this group's leader, I would order everyone to band together and rush to the opposite side of this island's shoreline, from where we entered, and then from here we can see that the water would likely be calmer on this side, which we need to rely on for what's about to happen next, by taking a page right out from a diver's suit. When diving, in order to not remain buoyant, aka not float to the surface, common tools like weighted anchors and diving belts or collapsible anchors made of iron and lead are used to help the divers stay in one place. This is why I would order as many people to gather bags, small stones, and any tree branches that we could quickly take down on the way to the shoreline opposite of the island, away from the attack. From this position, I would order everyone to hop into the water, bringing everything they just collected in with them, placing themselves at least thigh deep in water. Because, think about it, since these monsters cannot touch this water, they would be unable to efficiently attack us, allowing us to momentarily create a primary defense line, and together we could figure out our next step while still being on the defensive and not making decisions based on fear, because we would be in the water, which is where the monsters cannot get us. Zyanya says this is the Queen of the Dead's doing. They rush to save the villagers, but they suck balls and can't stop everyone from dying. Isel starts getting PTSD and Yaodo finally shows up, but one of the twins gets critically injured. Zyanya tries to save him, seeing this old man next to them about to die, making sure no one is looking. Zyanya pulls a dirty move and absorbs this guy's life force to heal the twin, killing the old man instantly, and she begs him not to tell anyone. Now off the rails, Isel rushes back to the village center and lures all the monsters to him like an idiot, but Zyanya shows up, using her full-on underworld lizard powers to help Isel by getting backed up by Yaodo. He realizes they can't stop them, so they call for a retreat, forcing everyone to leave the innocent survivors behind like a badass. The monster quickly gains on them, so they wake up Munchkin to help them out, gaining distance temporarily, but it's no use since the enemies can fly. Duh. Yaodo orders the twins to find the last gate, blasting the balls of light into the sky, alerting the monsters to their location, and manage to cut Isel before Munchkin teleports them ahead one more time. Reaching the end of the cliff, they realize the final gate is across the ocean, and squeeze one more teleport out of Munchkin and land on the island, which they realize is actually a sentinel. Isel is still bleeding out from earlier. They haul ass to save him, forcing Zyanya to reveal her crazy power, but Yaodo offers to lend his life force for Isel since a human might die. Zyanya goes crazy, healing Isel, and the group find a door leading inside the sentinel, but everyone starts fighting about all the secrets that people keep, causing Isel and Yaodo to get separated from the others. But they tell them they're fine, and they'll find a way to meet back up with them at the gate. But the twins continue to fight with Zyanya while Zyanya tries to defend her, just as the shark monster shows up, and Zyanya tries to save them but asks for help. Kin refuses and calls her a liar while Zyanya tries to help. The twins try to find a way out of this area, opening the gate. They tell Zyanya to leave Zyanya, but she refuses, forcing them to come and help Zyanya, shooting the ball from the inside and out of the shark's stomach, saving her, and everyone agrees to become friends. Finally. Meanwhile, Isel and Yaodo reach the final gate, spotting one switch surrounded by obsidian, materials no god nor human can touch. They try to get over there, but run into the Queen of the Underworld once again. Yaodo tries to defend Isel, but gets knocked back. She reveals that Isel is just a pawn, that even Yaodo is being deceived by the gods. Quetzalcoatl made a bet with Tezcatlipoca, the god Yaodo serves, to prove humanity's worth through Isel. If he could close the gate to the underworld, humanity would survive another age, but if he failed, then Yaodo's boss, Tezcatlipoca, would get all of his brother's blood sacrifices and would wipe out mankind. She says Yaodo was babysitting a kid destined to die by his own boss, and since all the gods are basically fighting in the family, they will never bring back Isel's sister. Isel doesn't believe her, but she says the god once took something from her too, asking Isel to ask Yaodo. Unable to deny what the queen says, Yaodo tells Isel that it was never his order and tries to make Isel remember his mission, but he tells this cat to shove it since he now doesn't trust anyone. The queen quickly makes Yaodo see his full past, that he was once a human chosen to be sacrificed to be Tezcatlipoca's assistant, but during the process he met a girl, oh boy, who he found out was actually Demon Daddy's wife, who was also once a human given up by humanity to join the underworld, but she got so freaking bored down there she snuck out to check on humanity, running into Yaodo. The two eventually fell in love, and he promised to be with her once he became Tezcatlipoca's immortal assistant. But last minute boss man found out and wiped his memories clean, warning her to never come near him again, or he'd tell her Demon Daddy about it. Since then she's been plotting her revenge on the gods and told Demon Daddy to wage war against the other gods, getting them to kill each other for her so she can one day reunite with Yaodo. It's blah 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 whatever. Now that she's almost reached her goals, she tells the group that if they close the final gate she will lose her powers and might die in the process. That's a problem for her. She must kill them right now. She turns Yaodo back into his human form and he tells her he loved her once but now she's changed, and so is he, revealing his heart now belongs to Isel and these kids for some weird reason and will stand with them no matter what, pissing the shit out of her, and she prepares to kill them before they destroy the final gate, transforming into her final boss babe form. Yaodo instructs Isel to close the gate while he and everyone everyone else takes care of Bay. A crazy battle begins, but the team quickly realize they can't beat her because she's strong, forcing Zyanya to whip out a boss move, coming into contact with the queen and absorbs her powers at the expense of her body, turning the queen back into her human form temporarily. Zyanya rushes to help Zyanya, but sees her completely changed. Okay, for a guy who wanted to help their team, Yadel acted really dumb. He knew there was an obvious relationship that he had with the goddess in his past life. Despite gods being immortal, blah blah blah, it's not important. It's clear that nobody can overcome the power of love. The signs were super obvious. This actually makes sense, because love comes from the emotional core of the human nervous system, which evolved long before the part of the brain responsible for logic and reasoning, meaning love itself is more fundamental to our survival than being a smarty pants. This means Yadel should have looked more into his relationship with the goddess, and even if he had no memories of it, it's clear that it was so important to the goddess, and he should have brought this up to his team, because there were so many ways they could have taken advantage of this. This could have also helped him the moment the goddess made him realize his past with her, since he would have been mentally ready to straight up lie to her in that moment, and could have leveraged her love in some way to secretly help the team. Looking into the team members' abilities to see if they could gain an edge should have also been done with everyone on the team, including their ace in the hole, Zyanya right here. Arguably the most powerful one here. The moment she joined, we saw her potential, which means, just like the twins, I would have looked into her powers during some downtime to figure out her limitations and powers, and basically how to better use her as an asset, and not just some rando doing cool shit alongside us. Isel was already told literally by everyone that he couldn't save anyone. Going up against gods and not expecting anyone on his team to get killed was a naive way of thinking at best. If I was him, I would have optimized a plan to reach the gate, come up with a false plan with the team, and then ditch everyone last minute, leaving them to handle the goddess and act as a proper distraction. This would have been the best plan to let them die and keep the enemy busy, which would have allowed us to easily reach and shut down the final gate without all of this pussyfooting around. The queen doesn't give up and calls more demons to stop them. Isel finally reaches the gate. The queen has now captured all of his friends and threatens to kill them all if he closes the gate. However, his friends are willing to die because there's no I in team, and tell him to just sack up, but Isel pulls out option C. Cutting his hand, using his blood, he summons God, Tezcatlipoca, and Quetzalcoatl instead. Isel says he used to hate humanity because of his sister's death and yada yada, not important, but now realizes there is still good in this world and there will always be imperfect humans, good and bad. Since human beings were made by imperfect beings, the god, Isel declares he'll stop being the god's little bitch and won't serve them anymore. And they can kill him since he knows he's going to lose his free will as a human anyways. Not closing the gate, he uses Munchkin to teleport him and his team away from the gods. Now in even bigger trouble, Isel convinces his group to stand together and fight in the upcoming war against the gods and recruit others and their gods because they need all the help they can get. That is not the ending I was expecting.
But what do you think about the video? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And as always, don't forget to check out our How to Beat playlist.